I heard that once. Don't know who said it, don't even know if it was meant to be deep, but it stuck with me. Because when you really sit with it, it makes sense. Art is that thing we're always chasing, even when we don't know we are. We make playlists to match our moods, we rewatch shows that bring us back, and we even care about fictional characters through made-up stories. And every time we feel too much or not enough, we create something, or we find something someone else created to help that. And that's wild, right? That something so silent, so unspoken can be the loudest part of who we are. Ever since the beginning of everything, humans have made art. Cave walls, fire dances, music, stories, buildings. Even now, it's in our timelines, our texts, our voices, our spaces. It's everywhere. Which made me wonder something. If art is always around us, then maybe it's not just a hobby. Maybe it's a part of being human. So that's why I'm making this documentary. Not to tell you what art is, but to ask others what they think it is. To see if it connects us. To see if it matters as much to others as it does to me. And to figure out why it's the only thing that makes sense when everything else doesn't. I'm starting with the people around me. Teachers who use art in ways we don't always think about. First up, some people say art is not a real job, but what they don't realize is that someone designed everything you've ever used. Every poster, logo, sign, tool, icon, ad. It started in the hands of someone who knew how to tell stories with shape and color. I sat down with Mr. Carter, who teaches Adobe Visual Design and Game Design, a class that lives and breathes creativity.
I think people underestimate and in ways underappreciate how the world shapes design, because I think that's arguably more important. The Japanese bullet trains and how the front of those trains are designed after kingfisher, which are they're birds. Because the issue they were having is it would create this giant boom when those trains were exiting or entering tunnels, and that would disturb everyone that lived in the area. And so the ability to study nature and study the world and implement that sort of engineering design, I think is really effective and a lot of times under. There's an element of just feeling like I've done something today that's really important for me personally. And then I think the other portion is more just internal motivation. And I don't know a better way to explain it than I have to. There are absolutely things that I cannot verbalize and I cannot express through words that I can through art. So, music being one of those big things where I can play a chord progression and I can slap a bunch of reverb on it and you get this potentially sad, very, melodramatic kind of tone, and you can't say that and evoke the same emotion. I think the way for people in general to make their mark is to make stuff and then share the stuff you made. You can't share your art with the world unless you share your art with the world. If you made something and you put a part of yourself into that, then it's art, and nobody can really take that away from you.
I was thinking what Mr. Carter said, that we leave our mark by creating and sharing with the world. That idea always stuck with me. Are we building little worlds, little pieces of ourselves, meant to outlive us all? There's this quote by Picasso. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist when we grow up. That really hits home. We all start out imaginative and fearless, but over time, life pushes us towards routine, towards the mundane. So I decided to talk to somebody who helps keep that creative spark alive. My ELA teacher.
Hi, I'm Nicole Kimball, and I teach AP Literature, AP Language, and 12th grade British Literature, English 4. I think storytelling is incredibly important in shaping who we are. There is an author, Sherman Alexie, he's one of my favorite authors, and he says we are our songs and stories. That to me is absolutely profound, because he's saying that from a cultural perspective because he's Native American, and so he's trying to explain that their songs and their stories shape who they are as a people, and whether it be a lullaby that your mom sang you or a story that your dad read you, you are forever impacted by those stories and songs. Well, one thing is that art has a timeless quality to it. I used to do a gallery walk of different pictures and ask my students to decide which ones were art and which ones were not art. And a lot of times they would look at graffiti and they would say, oh, well, that's art because it's creative. And I think art is more than just something that's creative. I think art surpasses a person's own time. So it lives on into the next time and the next time, and we as humans will go back to that and reference that time and time again. Because art is timeless, it can always be with us, shaping us from one era to the next era, and reinforcing the good and hopefully dispelling the bad, and hopefully making us better people through the art and the impact it has on us.
Talking to her reminded me, stories carry more than just words. They echo. They connect. Maybe writing isn't just expression. It's a way to reach across time and be heard. Edward Gibbon, this guy right here, once said, "History is little more than the register of crimes, follies, and misfortunes of mankind." But I think there's more to it than just that. What if history is also an art form? A record, yes, but also a reflection. A human fingerprint on time itself. So I sat down with Mr. Miller, our history teacher, to explore where art and history overlap.
The role of art in preserving history best shows the emotions of a time period, and we need art to, I think it better depicts history oftentimes than just a simple written record would. So, for example, Francisco Goya painted May the 3rd, 1808, depicting Napoleon's troops invading Spain and executing Spanish soldiers. That depicts the emotions of the Spanish people better than, oh, well, X number of people were executed on May the 3rd. So art influences how we understand the past, because not only does it showcase what civilizations were like, but it also showcases how civilizations saw themselves or how leaders saw themselves. So an example here is Emperor Justinian from the Byzantine Empire reconquered some of old Rome, built the Church of San Vitale with these beautiful mosaics in them. And so inside he had a mosaic of himself next to the church and next to soldiers, and so it depicted the combination of church and state. There was not much of a separation. And then he also has a halo around his head that was most of the times strictly for Catholic saints. Something as simple as like this conversation, probably be more in depth and more impactful, but so many tiny things can impact the course of history and might be studied in the future. Like primary source documents are so much more than just a letter from Ben Franklin. In 30 years down the line, we may be using simple text message chain to depict a major event in the future.
History isn't just dates and facts. It's emotion, memory, and meaning. From cave paintings to tweets, people have always found ways to say, I was here, I mattered. Because without art, our records, the knowledge of Earth's history would cease to exist. Art is emotion in motion. Sometimes it's a melody that knows what you're feeling before you do. Sometimes it's a film scene that holds up a mirror to your life. My teacher teaches music and film, two mediums that don't just entertain, they move us, they make us feel seen, and they stay with us long after the credits roll.
My name is Mr. Pao King Caso. When it comes down to music, the music that people choose for a film, it sets the mood. Even if you have a scene that is clearly something that should be sad, if you put a funny song there or some type of comedic tone or music behind it, to kind of throw off the tone of it. So I feel like when it comes down to music, it just sets the tone for what you're watching. Music and films are so universally understood because it is a form of expression. You can express yourself through film and music, even dance. You know, you happy, you're in a good mood, you hear a beat that that makes your body feel away, you start to dance. When it comes to film, you can jot down a story or something that you've been through in your life, and you can put that down on the page and you can have someone act that out. I think just considering music and film, it's a form of art, and people use art as a form to express themselves. That's why I think it's so powerful. You have to go far to find a way.
What I took from that was simple. Music and film go beyond language. They speak directly to who we are. And maybe that's the real power of art. It reaches the places words can't, creating bonds that are deeply human. This is where art ultimately meets us, not just in the act of creating, but in sharing a piece of our humanity, giving something of ourselves to the world. In that, art becomes more than just an expression, it becomes a connection. Every person I've spoken to has shown me something new. From design to storytelling to history, it all connects. It's as if every form of art is another way of saying the same thing. Hey, I was here, I did something, do you see me? And maybe that's why we keep creating, even when the world feels so overwhelming. Art is our voice, our legacy, our scream into the future. It's how we connect. It's how we matter. And in the end, it all circles back to that one quote. Art is the passageway of the human spirit to do anything. It's the heartbeat of what it means to be human, the one thing that can make sense of everything else. Let art be your way of leaving a mark on the world.